Smash Factor.
Ripping driver, going for it. Oh my goodness. How about that tee shot?
That is crazy how far that is.
Wow. John Daly, take a back seat, big fella. How about that drive?
That's an aggressive line. That is beyond long.
Look at this. He's just driven the green. He has just driven the green.
I guess hello world, huh?
Welcome everybody to the Smash Factor Week 17 on the 2022-2023 PGA Tour, the Honda Classic, one of my favorites each and every year. I've been to many Honda Classics there with OG John back in the day. Scott would go with us. Of course, the DFS Open was there in 2020. I just enjoy it. I really, and it's grown every year. It's kind of a quiet, not so much known waste management style with the way they're doing kind of the bear trap. But it's not as crazy because you just don't have as many, I don't want to say, maybe college kids or whatever. It's still a big, I mean, it's a nice party. I mean, there's a lot of people there, definitely from the first year I went to the last one I went to. And I guess a little bit of the difference is it's a tough course. It's hard. So many things can change on a dime. You know, you can have a guy doing, I mean, look at, I think Berger last year had a 5-shot lead. No lead safe at any point in the tournament. No one's through the cut until they're through the cut type of deal. 6-6 normally, historically pretty low here. Weather, if the wind picks up and all that kind of stuff, it really, I mean, we'll see a plus cut more likely than not. It'd be a +2, +3, something like that. Seen it as high as, I think we've seen a +5 or 6 cut. It was really bad weather that year, but to an extent, with that coupled with what kind of field we'll do it this week, really makes it a unique setup, opportunity, because it's not just, you know, do you make the right decision up top with the elite fields? And maybe you have some of the, not saying you don't have to be as accurate this week, but you have clear spots if you want to take the chance and leverage, unlike some weeks, not because of the field only, but because we all know the variance in golf is what it is already. This type of course, anybody can be caught up in it. So it makes it even, I don't want to say easier to fade the chalk, but you can do it with a little more confidence going, you know, it's not ROM at Mexico or even like, you know, at Waste or something like that. If you're fading a ROM, or even last week, you know, my last 2v2, I had 4 guys. I was going to pick 2 of them to be my last in my pool. And it was ROM, JT, Homa, and Xander. I chose JT and Xander. That really worked out for me. Now, hindsight, when I'm grading myself on Sunday night, this is early Tuesday morning, I'll post it around lunchtime, but I'm like, well, at least the process got me to where I needed to choose 2 more. Could I put them all 4 in? Sure, but I wanted my pool a certain way. My lower end was really well. Lee Hodge is obviously Doc of the Week. Doc of the Week in general has done really well this year. I made a lot of right stuff that I had 0 ROM in Homa in anything, and still brought back, you know, had a really good Sunday, come back on the main. Didn't get all my money back, but came back. But again, now you're talking between Rom, Scheffler, Worry, all that. And even if you fade Rom, I didn't fade him because I thought he missed the cut. I felt confident he'd be there. It was just, could the guys I went with outdo him? Here it's a little bit different because anybody can miss the cut here. No one's really safe. You can see it by the history here. Now, I mean, there's guys that do really well here consistently, but even ones like Sung Jae last year, he was super high owned. He's going to be super high owned again this year. Missed the cut, coming off an 8th and a 1st. So the strategy comes involved. And then even more so, there's not as many streaks. There's not as many scoring. So the finishing position, getting 6-6, it's massive this week. 5 of 6s can do really well in most cases. And then getting guys, even I talked about this a little bit last week, like the focus on, do I see my guys, let's say they make the cut, having a chance to be up there on that finishing points, because they're going to matter that much more in the totality of your scoring than other weeks. We'll review last week real quick, kind of did a little bit there, then we'll get through things. Anyways, I enjoyed this week. I like the course. I wish I was going. Was going to go, and then obviously the things with father-in-law and all that. Appreciate all the kind words last week. Services were Saturday. Everything was nice. It was a good day with family and all that. But caused me to kind of change things around with being able to go. So I'm not going to make it this year. Plan to be back next year. Because even with the field, like if you ever want to go, like this is a very, just in general, being down there in West Palm Beach area, nightlife, stuff like that. It's a fun tournament to go to for many reasons. So, like I said last week, man, just brutal on some cuts. Really, it's frustrating, but it also makes you think, well, shit, it breaks the other way, and I'm like cleaning up. So I had a 75. I had to put 75 lineups in the $20, and I put 150 in the $5. In the 75 lineup build, I had 6 guys miss the cut at +2 on the number. And my pools aren't really big. I build tighter than most, or even last week where I spread it out a little bit. And in the 150 lineups, 9 guys finished at +2 in my pool, which is, it's like a fourth of my pool. I think I did 40 guys maybe for 150 lineups, 38 guys maybe. So 9 finished at +2. It was just insane the amount of bad run there. 2 of the big ones, Fitz and Matsu, and a lot of them, it was literally how they finished their round. It wasn't like some were trying to come back and they didn't make it. Fitz was gotten to like -2 or something to that effect, or climbed back in it, looked good. Bad back nine. Matsu, terrible back nine, especially last 5 holes. And that just happened. Taylor Moore, I remember what he shot, 5 over or something like that in the last 7 holes. So brutal, but is what it is. Like I said, to not have any ROM or HOMA and to get, it wasn't quite half back, but to get back there, I was like, well, the pool was good. I just up top just didn't make the right decisions, is what it is. Had some good luck on Sunday with some showdown stuff, captain showdown stuff. So keep grinding. We'll get through this week. I'm looking forward to it. Not much else going on right now, so we'll see decent pots, good pots, not as good as last week, but see how quick they fill up with no NBA. I don't know how many people are dipping into NHL and college basketball or anything else. I don't even know what else would be going on right now. But betting, I went 5-5-1. Made 0.35, so call it break-even week there. Did not have first-round leader, and obviously didn't have a ROM bet at all. So, the favorites have been winning on the outrights a little bit. Makes it tough in the streets there, but I think this week we'll see a little bit of more of a long shot. Have a good chance at getting a W. Come join us now if you'd like to. Smash 20% off any package. We have content only or full site if you want to use the golf tools, NFL tools. Everything's one price. We don't separate it out by sport. 20% off. You get the content only, so all the information, Slack, the private show on Wednesday night, E9s with me, and then Kenny joins at times. $12 a month is what it come out to if you do the annual. Full site, $23 a month if you do the annual. But you can go check all that out on the site. Smash 20% off. Includes a 7-day risk-free trial if you'd like to try it out. Rate and review us on iTunes. Be doing big giveaways. We'll do some for the players like we did last year, and then the biggest we'll start with the Masters, our big March to the Masters. Do free giveaways doing this. So rate and review us goes a long way. Subscribe and like this video on YouTube. Tell me who you want to play in the 9K range this week. 8 guys. Yeah, 8 guys in there. Only 2 in the 10K range. We'll get into that a little bit. But tell me your favorite play in that 9K range. Listener League is in the description. 250 this week. Dropped it a little bit. I figured we may have a little bit of a lull coming off the big week last week. We did fill it, so I was happy about that. Let's fill it quickly. Last week's winner, Ring Balls 22, 509.50. Didn't have ROM. He had Homa, Cantley, Morikawa, Hovland, Adrian Moronk, and Kevin Tway. The Morikawa finish, that one stung on a few levels. Definitely dropped some spots, not only in Showdown, but even Maine when, what do you go? I think he went birdie, eagle, birdie. So he gets a streak, gets a lot of points, climbs up the leaderboard. It really hurt on Showdown. Still had a good Sunday, but that was kind of unfortunate. But that's a solid lineup. Get a win without ROM. Really good build with some low, getting Moronk and Tway in there. Very sharp build there for him. I will send him the invite to get into the end of the year Tournament of Champions. Like I said, we're at PGA National, West Palm Beach, Florida. Par 70, 7,150 yards. 2 par 5s, 4 par 3s. So, a lot of focus on par 4s this week, being 12 of the 18 holes. Very, very tough par 3, some of the toughest on tour. This is one of the toughest courses on tour. Year in and year out, it's probably top 5 outside of majors. Some years I think it's been rated the hardest outside of majors. Par 5s are the easiest on the course. You got to be able to take advantage of those. Like I mentioned, Bermuda greens, or back in Florida now, East Coast time, early lock Thursday. So make sure you got to kind of get everything locked in Wednesday night, and then wake up early and make sure you don't miss any withdrawals. We've been a little, it's good and bad. The West Coast. The West Coast is you get to tinker and mess around Thursday or in the mornings for content people and stuff like that. The East Coast is nice because the tournament ends early, and you get to pull stuff in, do your content. You're not waiting till 7, 8 o'clock for the tournament to end. But there are plus and minuses to both there. Tons of trouble around here, tons of water. You can have a guy rolling along and he gets a triple. You just have to, brace for that, especially if you're new to DFS PGA. It's not going to be about birdie streaks this week. It'll be about grinding and guys around even are going to be fine heading in. If you got a guy -4 or better, going into Sunday, he's probably has a chance to win, or at least, he's for sure looking at top 10 or better. So you don't have to, you don't have to score crazy. You got to avoid the big numbers here, especially down the bear trap. Weather, it looks warm and sunny all week. The winds, we keep an eye on, because this course, the winds will affect, the course. So not saying we have waves stacks, but if there is a significant wind advantage, it is certainly one you want to take advantage of here. We'll wait till we get a little bit closer to tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, so we can see the full in-depth Thursday and Friday. There's some winds right now, but they look pretty consistent. So it's just going to be, play a little harder across the board. I don't see any advantage right now. Maybe we'll see some in Showdown, but main slate, nothing yet, but there could be. So we'll keep an eye on it. No rain or anything like that. Looks mid-80s. So actually pretty warm, pretty sunny. These guys are going to enjoy it coming off that cooler weather they've been dealing with on the West Coast. Cut, I'll go like +2, +3. I think that's going to be the number somewhere in there. Winner, I got around -9. Last several years, got -10, -12, -6, -9, -8, -12, -9, 6, 8, 9, 12, 9. So you can see the lowest score since 2011 is 12 under. That's happened 3 times. And in those 3, Matt Jones won by 5 strokes, Ricky won by 4 strokes, and Rory won by 2 strokes over Tiger and Gillis that year. So even the years where the 12 has been there, the whole rest of the field was still single digits. Different mentality, especially as a DFS player, when you're watching stuff, you see a bogey, normally you're like, oh man, he's got to bounce back. Not a bad deal this week. You just got to be able to grind it. Some former winners here. We saw Sepp last year, Jones, Sung Jae, Keith Mitchell, Justin Thomas, Ricky Fowler, Adam Scott, Rory. That was back in 2012. Some runner-ups: Lowry, Mackenzie Hughes, Fowler, Brooks, List, Woodland, Garcia, Berger, Rory, Palmer. So you can kind of see a mix of anybody can kind of compete here. There is no, this prototype's definitely going to win. You got to be able to golf your ball, if you're familiar with that saying, and, avoid trouble. You just got to grind. It's a grind deal. It's a grind all day long, 4 days in a row. Even before kind of the elevated events, it was some of the reason why, a lot of guys didn't want to come here. They just, I don't want to say they don't get humbled by the course, but where it's out on the calendar, why go play one of the toughest tracks when I can choose others, right? But hopefully he gets a break. Now it's sandwiched between them, so it's really, which we've seen with the field this week, really puts a damper on it to an extent. Stats I'm looking at this week: good drives, stroke gain irons, got to be able to get up and down around here, bogey avoidance, opportunities inside 18 feet, accurate approach, and par 4 DK scoring. New to the course since 2017, 37 guys, kind of high, which, again, to be expected. A lot of guys aren't playing. Even Keith Mitchell, who's played here every year since he won it, because of the Elevate event, basically is what he said is why he's not playing this year. The way the schedule works, you want to play last week, then this week, then you get API player. I mean, it's just there's a lot of tournaments coming up, so they got to take a break somewhere. Like I mentioned, salary ranges only 2 in the 10K. The one thing I like about that with DraftKings, at least they're adjusting, is they're not saying, hey, we don't care who the favorites are. We're not going to, back there was a time not too long, even probably last year, they would have 4 to 5 in the 10K range, no matter the strength of the field, which made it a little more, maybe easy to fade some guys, but they're kind of taking the strength in, looking at the odds and all that, and saying, all right, well, this field only deserves 2 guys in the 10K, and then build it down from there. I like that at least. So 2 10K, 8 9K, 10 8K, 38 7K, and 82 6K for the week. There'll be some Monday Qs that get in this morning. It actually rolled over because it was so they ran a daylight. So we'll see who gets in this morning. Same format for me as usual, Sweet 16, favorite 3 and a bubble boy, fade of the week, sleeper, some gut feel plays, betting, top 5 the pop and 2 long shots, preliminary one and done stuff, and then we'll get out of here. 9K and above, definitely going to be, in general, the ownership game will be even more important this week. It doesn't mean you have to fade chalk or all chalk. You definitely don't want to spread yourself out among chalk because your combinations and that kind of stuff, and it'll be different between a 1 to 3 max versus an MME setting. If you love Sung Jae and you want to go with them, I'll probably get over the weight there. Maybe you fade a Lowry. Safe to say, I think Sanjay probably gets over 30%. And we just hadn't seen that, right? In the last several weeks with some of these fields, it's been really spread out between 15 and 20%. Very few have been over 20 in general. You get a lot of sticker shock here, and you kind of always talk about this, especially weeks like this, where one thing you could do is like either cover the names up and look at the profile, and then the price is a price. It just, you have to have so many people priced at certain areas. But your level of competition between 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, there's not as big of a gap as what we've been seeing, and so you have to remember that as well, because they just can't put everybody in 7K, right? And say, oh, all these guys are all about the same. They just can't do that. So yeah, you might see someone that this guy shouldn't be 8,700. 87, 86, this guy can't be 99. I mean, it's just something I kind of put a blind to it and just don't think about it. I've still got to build a pool. More worried about ownership than I am what a guy's price tag is. Certainly. I like Dietrich, 9K. This is a week where I think you'll see a lot of the same people getting talked about, for me, I'll play some, and then there's some I'll just go, hey, I'm just going to be off him this week. Take my chances, especially at a tournament like this. Dietrich's coming in. I've been playing him. He's coming in with decent form, a 37th, a 37th, and a 33rd last week in a really good field. And that's the other deal when I talk about sticker shock is some of these guys got huge price jumps from last week, and you're like, whoa. I paid whatever for him last week. You really just can't think about that. You just got to kind of look at the profile of the guy. He rates out great in stats: 11th in irons, 17th in bogey avoidance, 3rd in par fade DK scoring, 9th in putting. We're back on Bermuda again, like I said, and the price is good right there at 9K. So I like that. Balance is probably going to be the way I lean, assuming that I think M and Lowry will be high owned, and so you'll see some hybrid balance builds, I think, for the most part. Next, I like Kirk, 9,900. Kind of think at that price, he may go a little lower owned with what's around there. Someone may just say, I'll pay up for Lowry or drop down, to let me flip back over to this page, drop down to your McCarthy, who's been, playing really well, Kuchar, who's resurging, or they're just I'll just play M Lowry and completely drop, get 8 7s, whatever, and hope that works out. That's certainly viable. I just think he'll be owned, but just not as much as some around him. I don't think. We'll see. When he's made the cut here, he's done well. 33rd, 25th, and 7th. 3 out of the 5 years he's made the cut. I like that. He's gotten better every year that he's made the cut. I played him, I don't remember if it was last year or 2 years ago at the Players, and, he's one that he found the water a lot, and it certainly killed me on his back 9 going into Sunday, but I think it was 2 years ago. But stats are just okay. They're decent across the board, nothing crazy. 15th in stroke gain irons, which I like that. Miscut at the waist, and that's it. He hadn't played a whole lot. Really going off some of the history here, I think he's going to be a good leverage play in that price range. I can move off of him if he winds up being talked up a lot. I just don't see it. Next, Billy Horschel. I'm interested to see what happens with him. He's another guy I think could be lower owned. Again, because I think Lowry and M are going to be so high owned. A lot of these upper nines, I think people will just drop down and either go to the 8s or load up on some of the, that mid 7, high 7's got some pretty solid plays as well. Or they'll drop down to like Svensson, who I think will probably be mega chalk this week. So, or very highly owned, especially in that range. So maybe I dip more in the 9s and take some chances on Horschel. Horschel, hit or miss so far this year, 32nd at waist, missed the cut last week. Here he's got really pretty solid, 4 out of 5 years he's made the cut. He's got a 4th, a 16th, a 16th, and a 42nd. He missed the cut back in 2018. He lives in the area. He's right there. 22nd in stats, 10th in recent form, 16th in course fit, 26th in putting. All solid enough, and I think he probably gets lower owned at that price. I don't mind going Billy Ho this week. My bubble boy, Sung Jae, it's really just going to come down to, how much do I think he's going to be owned, and do I want to just go way overweight, almost lock button style. Some contests he could be over 40%. I think in like the big $20, big $5, I wouldn't be shocked if him and Lowry flirt with 30%. Very early in the week. Tuesday is my day when I get out and I'm around and digest as much pods as I'm getting windshield time. But we'll see where everybody's going. Maybe we're at this point where everybody goes, I'll just fade those two guys, and they kind of come in a little under the radar, but they both, good history here. Lowry, we saw the rainstorm last year, or the one pocket of rain on him on the last hole, or he probably wins it. But he gets a second, right? And he's got a 14th last week. Sung Jae has a little bit, he's got the 1st and the 8th, but good form coming in. But last week, not as great, a 56, but a 4th and a 6th before that. So there's arguments to be made for both of them. Sung Jae's a bubble boy strictly on ownership. But paper-wise, he's number 1. That's not shocker in this field for me or anybody's, right? He's a favorite. And I lean him over Lowry. So that's why he's a bubble boy for me. We'll see how ownership shakes out and how we want to attack it. 8K range, Pendrith, love him, been playing him. We've talked about him frequently this year. I think he's going to have a big year. I'm going to stick with him. I think he's 8,900. Why am I not seeing him? Oh, yeah, you're right. There we go. 8,900. 25th here last year is the first time he's seen the course. I like that. A 7th at Pebble. He's made 3 straight made cuts. Not great weekends at Farmers and Waste, but I just think he's a good talent, especially at that price. I'll go some Pendrith this week. I'll go back to Moronk. Played him last week. Did okay. Nothing crazy. A 45th. The 8,300. He's one of those guys that took a big price jump. Maybe that keeps some people off of him. I don't know how many people want to click his name at that price. He's a guy that if he was getting steamed up by Wednesday, I don't mind jumping off of him. But the profile in general, certainly don't mind taking a chance on him. The next one, Cam Davis. Man, this is I go back and I'm looking at his shot detail. It's really been a lot of the short game. He's, outside of you move around the green and putting, he's really not playing horribly. But, man, his scores look even worse than what they are. The only reason I'm talking about him is strength of field, weak. He's never missed a cut here. 3 straight made cuts, 59th, 8th, and 33rd. And price, 8,100, makes things work. And I just don't see many people going there this week. So, similar last week, it bit me a little bit. I didn't think he was 3 or 4. He was very low owned. You won't have to get too much overweight, especially at this price. People just go, he's been so horrible. But his stats still look fine when you take away around the green and putting. So, which leads me to believe, because you could say injury, but I would think that would come more in like weaker irons, driver, something like that, like pitching and putting. Maybe it was just the POA and the Kakua and whatever. He's done all right here. 3 made cuts. I'm not giving up on him yet. I may regret that, but I don't mind him at that price. I think he could be a good leverage play. Bubble Boy is Svensson, just like Sung Jae. Really comes down to ownership. I think, played him last week, had him on round 4. He was great for me. Looked good. 9th here last year, 9th last week, 59th in 2019. So he's played here twice, made the cut twice. All that looks good, but everybody's going to see that and think he looks good. A lot of people already bet him, at the 60-1 number that dropped. The only reason why I wouldn't play him, it would be an ownership play. So that's why he's a bubble boy there. 7K range for me, Ben Griffin, stay there. Up and down a little bit, but stat-wise, he looks good. 31st at Farmers, missed the cut at Pebble. Not ever played here, but I don't really, you can do well here your first time, or you can, I don't think that's indicative how it is. So I don't mind him at all. It may be a little, he's been really popular at times this year. I don't think he'll be too popular. So I don't mind that. 7,900. Lee Hodges, dock of the week last week, 18th finish, crushed for us, $6,200, 7,700. So not crazy, increase considering the field. A ninth in 2022. So, last year he did well at Genesis, came over here, gets the top 10. This year does well at Genesis. I think he's live to be right there to have a good run this weekend as well. I'll go back to him at $7,700. SH Kim, played him a lot in the fall and through here. I'm sticking with him. 3 straight made cuts. Farmers, 20th, 41st at Pebble, 33rd at Genesis. Great around the green game, which is important here. 4th in par 4 DK scoring, 18th in opportunities inside 18 feet. Love SH Kim this week. Good price, $7,400. Callan Taryn did not do so well last week. He was one that I did play. He was right there around the Lee Hodges area. I think he was 6,300. He's a hit or miss. I do like that he finished 30th here last year. Only time he's seen the course, made the cut. I think he can ground. I think a lower scoring may be good for him, or higher, however you want to look at it. Mentality wise, it does change. If you tell a guy, hey man, you just got to be even to 1 under, even to 2 under every single day. 1 under, yeah. If you're 3 under going into Sunday, you're probably live. So, or at least right there in the ballpark. It changes your mentality that versus you guys shoot 3 under a day to have a chance type of situation. So, I'm not jumping off of him yet. Everything still looks good. Only reason why he's a bubble boy is just back-to-back miscuts, and last week's was kind of ugly. But I'll probably still play him. 6K range, don't see myself going down here a whole lot. I like Michael Kim, 6,900. You can look at the course this year. You got to remember he went through a really bad time, though. But miscut, 57th miscut. But coming in with pretty decent form. 44th at Farmers, 11th at Pebble. Hasn't played the last 2 weeks. But he's a guy just that, he's one on tour. I don't mind going to that kind of pedigree and that profile. Ben Martin, another guy that's shown a little bit of life lately. I still remember him he played Benny on in the finals at Southern Hills as an AM, and I walked the 18 with him. So I like him, and especially in this kind of field, I think he can do all right. He's only played here once. He got a 33rd, a 13th at Pebble as well. So just a guy, when you look at the 6K range, you got to find any way you can. Matthias Schmid, I don't mind him. Rates out pretty decently for me, $6,800. He hasn't played here though, but that's fine. Number 1 in par 4 DK scoring, limited stats, but 22nd in good drives. He had a 48th at Pebble. He was another guy that just kind of popped to me to take a look at. Pearson Cootie is the stud from Texas. His brother may make it this morning. He's at least going to be in a playoff to get in. It looks like it may be a 4 for 3 type playoff, but I like him just in general. He's one of those guys. I don't want to say Scheffler or Spieth or anything like that, but he's highly thought of college player. And 7th at Pebble, missed a cut at Waste, but I'll go to him easily at $6,800. Fade of the week for me is gonna be McCarthy. Relies a lot on the putter. He has gotten better, but I think he'll be popular at that $9,100. And I'd probably rather go up to like Wise or drop down to the Dietrich type. And then I probably, just as like a comma pause deal, will probably at most pick one between Sungjae and Lowry, just because I think they're going to be so high owned. Or you go the exact opposite of it, and you go ham build 50 lineups. I'm going to lock both those two in and get every combination I can with them. I mean, that it's not impossible. Not really the way I don't think I want to go this week. Larry looked all right last week. He'd come in with not the best form. He's made the cut here 4 straight years, including the second. very thin between Lowry and Im on which one I like the most, but didn't want to cross either one out yet. I kind of want to see how things shake out. McCarthy's the one that I think I don't want to play at that 9K and above, who should have pretty good ownership. Sleeper of the week, that's kind of a loose term this week, but I like Sam Stevens, 7K flat. I don't envision him being too talked up. Played here last year, a 55th, 13th at Farmers, 34th at Pebble. I like that. Stats are just okay, but, again, you're talking about a guy that's probably going to be 5% or less, 17th in good drives, 31st at par 4 DK scoring. Just the kind of guy that stuck out to me. So, nice little sleeper. That's the one I'm going with. Gut feel plays. Davis Riley, not giving up on him. 3 straight missed cuts. That's not ideal. But he played here last year, got a 42nd, 9th in opportunities inside 18 feet, 16th in good drives, 34th in irons. Better than average in the putting, 50th out of the 100 and whatever, 32 or so we got here. So enough there at this price. I like his upside. Definitely a good gut feel play. Will Gordon right below him for me. Withdrew at Pebble. That may have been part of that whole weather situation, so I'm not putting a lot into it. Played there 2 years ago, got a 36th. 19th in stats for me, 11th in recent form, 21st in course fit. Putting, the big issue there, so outside of that, I don't mind him. Benny On, $7,600. Great history here. A 5th, a 36th, a 4th, and then a miscut. Fighting his way back on tour, went the Corn Ferry route, 29th in par 5 DK scoring, 26th in irons, 37th in good drive, 23rd in opportunities inside 18 feet. A lot of good stats there. Course fit, which takes a couple other things in. He's number 1 for me, actually. Putting kind of comes down to it. But another guy where you tell him, hey, you go shoot 1 under each day, where he doesn't have to feel that, especially a guy that struggles with the putter at times, that he's got to make a ton of birdies. I like that a lot. So I don't mind him. And then Hubbard, 7K flat is the last gut feel play for me. Missed a cut back in 2017 here, but then an 11th, a 46th, and a 15th. A 20th at Pebble, then back-to-back missed cuts. He's a guy I'll deep dive on and kind of see what those cuts look like. But at that price, his history here, I don't mind that at all. Betting top 5 that pop in 2 long shots provided by Underdog and Prize Picks. Link is in the description for both. Use GUP, dollar for dollar match up to $100. Underdog has their majors. Best balls going right now. I'm sure they have, start getting NFL out shortly. The big NFL normally drops around May, but we'll be focusing in on the majors here as we get closer to Augusta. Definitely like their weekly stuff, their daily stuff. Thursday night looks like they're coming back down to like the $5-7 area. They went up to 10, and some people voiced that they prefer the 5, but those are always great little daily, 6-man draft type deals. We do well on them and talk about it over in Slack. Go check it out. Prize Picks, I give those every night. I'll give the round 1s on the Final Thoughts pod tomorrow, and then nightly I put them in with the bets that I have. I like Dietrich, 30-1, Davis, 40, S.H. Kim. You can get them anywhere 70 to 90, depending on your book. Chris Kirk, if I'm going to go up top, I don't mind him at 25. Pendrith, 33, 35, somewhere in that range. I don't mind him either. 2 long shots. Taryn, 125. And Stevens, 150. Probably better top 20 type bets there that I don't mind taking a chance on. My 5 for one and done right now, that's certainly a week you can take some stabs and chances. Not only because the prize pool isn't as big, but it's just a course that anybody can get got at. So I probably would avoid a Lowry M because you're not going to make up a bunch of ground. They're going to be fairly highly owned. I like Dietrich, Svensson. He could be higher owned. Pendrith, Chris Kirk, and Moronk are the 5 that I'm looking at right now. I'll give my final 5 tomorrow on the Final Thoughts pod as well. E9. Be going like we have been, 6:37 Eastern, somewhere in that time range. Let all the community know. I think Kenny's going to join me this week since he had a miss last week he threw his back out. So I'll be fun. This is a good strategy week, good E9 week to talk through different scenarios and how we want to attack it. Don't forget, Smash 20% off any package on the site. Stays with you, locked for life. You can upgrade, downgrade, all you want. You still get your code as long as you remember, and includes a 7-day risk-free trial. Looking forward to the week. I know a lot of people, it's kind of a down week in the middle But not much else going on for me after everything we've dealt with kind of last month. Personally, I'm just ready to move forward, and this is one of the weeks I do enjoy it. Wish I could be out there, but looking forward to it as well. We do got boots on the ground this week, so we'll see what we can pick up from there, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks.